Hey, Aquas. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please give me a like, share, and subscribe if this video resonates with you. Okay, let's get started. So, Aquas, we have the sword and the kiss, the heart, the mother, the forest, the poet, and the ocean. Um, Aquas, I feel like you guys have had this idea of like movement in your reads for a minute now. So I don't know if like some of my aquas are just like thinking about like moving entirely, or if you're just like switching roles or but there's just an idea here of the forest is the idea of like heading into uncharted territory, right? Like it's a road that is yet to been traveled. And there are friends and enemies alike in the forest. It's just kind of this idea of like a new adventure, a new uncovering of like kind of like a new world, a new, which is kind of why I feel like there's just this idea of like you're moving, because again, it's this idea of like it's something you haven't done, so it's unfamiliar, right? Um, and I want to say there's an idea here of the mother is this idea of like clinging to your children to seek your identity out of them, or, like raising them up and trusting that they're good to go, like that you've given them the tools and the skills necessary to, like go out into the world successfully. Um, I kind of feel like there's an idea here, Aquas, of you really, and your fixed signs. So, it's easy for you to really like once you are set in something, you don't like to change it, right? Like you'll cling to it until you've exhausted every possible way that something like should be the way that it has been. And I kind of feel like that's like a struggle that you're going through, that you're really having to kind of part ways with, because I feel like whatever this like a bit of anxiety is that you're experiencing, it has a lot to do with just change in general and being afraid of change. Like I almost feel like it's like freaking out at the idea of change. But again, I feel like there's this idea that like if you can really like separate yourself from this idea, because I want to say like I have this image of like a home base in my head, and it's like if this is my home base, like it doesn't matter, I can go anywhere in the world as long as I have my home base. But I get the feeling that your home base is not really a great base for you right now, and so you're really having to kind of face that, like that possibility of change. um and then the kiss in the heart, I want to say, the kiss is the idea of a relationship. There's intimacy, there's love. The heart is the idea of like home is where the heart is. And again, Aquas, I feel like this has been in your reads of just really wanting to start over with someone, or wanting to start over. So there's just a conversation just popped in my head, literally a conversation that I had years ago, like in Portland, with this guy that I was friends with. We worked together, and he was like, part of me wants to, like get in a relationship now and then start over with somebody like someplace new. He was like, but then there's this part of me that's afraid, like what happens if I get there and then I meet all these new people and I don't want that old person anymore. And I just like that's that's kind of like I, so I don't know, like maybe that'll resonate for some of my aquas, that like do you have this like this person who like you're like, I don't know, like is this somebody who I would really want to take with me to that next level? I feel like there's a point of like a question, and if that is a question, that like that's a legitimate fear. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's a legitimate fear if it's somebody who you're in a relationship with just to be in a relationship with, to like start on a new adventure. If you're in a relationship with somebody who you are like they're your best friend and like the person that you want to do all of these things with, then I don't think that fear is quite as legitimate. And so I feel like really maybe just like take into consideration like where on that spectrum you are with this person, um, and maybe open yourself up to the opportunity to really like, instead of just viewing the relationship as like, well, you're just somebody who I can do things with, view it as you're the person that I want to do things with. Um, I don't know, like that, it just seemed relevant, so I shared. The ocean and the poet. The ocean is this idea that there's a lot of balance to be had. The poet is the idea that you can take the bad and you can turn it into something beautiful. And I feel like Aquarians, this is really like you want to. I feel like while you're hesitant about this change, it's almost like it's the excuse that you're holding on to, but it's really like it's a weak excuse. Um, and I kind of feel like you're coming to this understanding or this okay, yeah, like I have to let this go. I have to stop being afraid. But then also this whole like relationship idea that you have going on simultaneously. Because I don't even necessarily know that they're intertwined, although they may very well be. Okay. The Nine of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, and the Three of Wands. Okay, again, I mean, like the Three of Wands is a trip. So Aquas, it could be that you guys are going on a trip. It could be that there's like a community that you visit with regularly. Like maybe some of my Aquas travel a lot, and like you're like, okay, like this is someplace that I know that I would really like to go. This is someplace that I know that I would like to live. I know that there's community here, and really like finding the wherewithal to really leave the lack behind if because just to hold on to a home base for the sake of holding on to a home base really I know it's comfortable, but sometimes I feel like it's limiting. Um, and so I kind of want to say that there's an idea here of you really just like coming into this like awareness of like the limitations that are surrounding this home base for you. I don't know, it's what's coming through. And then the Knight of Pentacles is usually like a job offer, an opportunity. And I feel like there's an idea here that maybe when you go on a trip to visit this community, you're presented with an opportunity. And it could be that this opportunity is requiring you to kind of like let go of your home base. For some of my aquas, this might resonate as well, like, do I want to take this relationship that I'm in? Do I want to take this person with me? Or do I want to start fresh in this new opportunity because that's where that new that love and that newness and that that's where I'll be able to take all of the bad and turn it into something good and find my balance. I feel like there's a couple of storylines that want to come through. So take what resonates and leave the rest. These are general reads. Five of Cups, confusion. Yeah, because I feel a little bit confused just by doing this read. Okay. Okay, yeah. Five of Swords, Five of Cups, the Hermit, Life Renewed, and the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is the idea of like when things are good, they're good. When things are bad, they're bad. Nothing is ever all one thing or another, right? Like, yes, there will be extremes that you will experience in life, but ultimately, things calm down. And I feel like there's just this idea, Aquarius, that you feel like there's a point of contention here, and I don't know if this is like coming from your home base environment, I guess we'll call it. Like, take that how it resonates. It could be a job, it could be a group of friends, it could be like your actual home. But I feel like again, there's just like a lot of confusion. You feel like you there's just lack and there's not a lot, there's not a lot of choice where you're at. I feel like there's a lot of bickering and arguing that's surrounding you. And I feel like you're really pulling away from that. And I want to say like this is that like that idea of like, do I hold on to this because when things are good, they're good, and when things are bad, they're bad? Or do I let go and open myself up to a new opportunity? Okay, Aquas. That's going to get it all. The Moon, Ace of Cups. Yeah, I do feel like there's an idea here of like you do have a new opportunity. um, I want to say like, but there's an idea of like really having to follow your intuition, and I do feel like again, it's just this idea of like there's security. Yes, there might be, like there's frustrations, there's arguments, there's all these things, but there's an element of security that I think you're having a really hard time letting go of. And yet, I feel like that security really isn't offering you a whole lot of balance. And so you're wanting to discover your balance and move towards, I want to say, instead of just existing in the negative all the time, let me go ahead and like take the wheel here and take the negative that I've experienced it and turn it into something beautiful. And I feel like there's an idea here of like you go on a trip, and when you do, you discover that there's a lot of community that you are really like, I want to say, that resonates with you, and an opportunity for a new relationship that I think really um, entices you, which is fantastic and I love. I just kind of feel like there's just this confusion about what to do, and what move to make. And I almost feel like there's an element of like happenstance involved with a trip that you take. Okay, Aquas, the Pilgrim and the Offering. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just this idea of like you go. I want to say like you go on this trip, right? Like, and there's an opportunity that's offered to you that I want to say almost like requires you to let go of this idea of like this home base. Um, but live life. Grab opportunity, like don't let opportunity pass you by is kind of what I want to say. And be open to change. It's not always bad. I don't know. Like it could be that you discover that you find a new home base, and it's a home base that serves to be a place of relaxation and rejuvenation, not a place of stagnation and, well, I'm here because it's where I've always been, or I'm here because it's comfortable and it's safe. I know what to expect, like let it go. All right, Aquas. Well, I hope that this resonates with you all. If you're interested in booking a personal read, please click the link in the description box below. If this is where we part ways, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Please give me a like, share, and subscribe, and I hope to see y'all again soon.